Throughout the history of video games, there's always been a trend, with each new hit coming from a different genre, and with that, inspires game developers to follow in their footsteps, which then leads to knockoff games, an opportunistic cash grab, or an inspiring passion project. And due to there being so many, it's mostly the former. But within the mix lie some anomalies, so I'm going to be getting into some knockoff games that were not only good, but actually better than the originals. Stumble Guys is a knockout battle royale game made by Scopely. It was released on October 7th, 2021. You're put through various obstacle courses that you have to overcome in order to reach the finish line, with each round eliminating more and more until there's a winner. There's tons of customizations you can make to your character with skins, emotes, and animations. This is a knockoff of the popular game Fall Guys. Stumble Guys currently averages about 6,000 players a day. Meanwhile, Fall Guys averages about 1,900. Now, what made Stumble Guys better than Fall Guys? One thing I'd assume is that Fall Guys cost money at one point. They announced that they were going free in June of 2022, a year after Stumble Guys released. Stumble Guys was always free, so it generated more users early on, and due to it being sponsored by YouTubers like Mr. Beast, it probably got even more. Overall, in terms of experience, the games are pretty much the same. There's probably different obstacles and things like that, but if you want a more reliable player base, Stumble Guys is the way to go. Subway Surfers is an endless running game made by Kiloo. It was released on September 20th, 2012. The aspects of the game are quite simple. Run away from a cop who's trying to catch you for vandalizing a subway, and earn coins and loot boxes while you're at it. There's many things to collect like characters, outfits, and hoverboards. The game is a knockoff of Temple Run, a game where you're running from monsters because you stole an artifact. Subway Surfers has over 1 billion downloads, while Temple Run has 500 million. I think this is because Subway Surfers seems a lot more kid-friendly, and there's a lot of bright colors and animations, but overall it's just a better game. They have way more characters, way more cosmetics, and they constantly update their game. They're actually doing an entire world tour where with each update they go to a certain country. Subway Surfers is a really great game and it deserves its success. Pixel Strike 3D is a block-style first-person shooter made by Volcron. It was released on September 23rd, 2015. There's many modes such as Team Deathmatch, Infected, Dinner Party, and more. There's tons of weapons and cosmetics to choose from, though I think they removed a lot of the skins. There's also some really cool maps with some pretty good soundtracks to go with it. This game was a knockoff of Pixel Gun 3D, a once beloved game that became really bad over the years. I'm not sure of the issues Pixel Strike 3D has since I haven't played it as long as I have for Pixel Gun, but back in the day it was still a fairly great competitor, but hopping back into it recently, it seems to be miles ahead. One thing that a lot of people might like is that it's a lot more realistic than Pixel Gun. It follows the movement style of a lot of common FPS games, and from what I experienced, there aren't really a lot of ads. I don't know the total counts for both games since I only track the PC versions, so due to Pixel Gun's fleeting reputation, I wouldn't be surprised if many are making the switch. Pixel Strike is all around a great game. The only issue it had was that the party mix doesn't work anymore, but that could just be on my device. So if you're tired of Pixel Gun 3D or just want a really cool blocky shooter, this is the game to get. Smashy Road is an endless racer made by Bearvid Studios. It was released on August 2nd, 2015. The goal is to cause as much mayhem in the area you're in as possible while avoiding the cops. And the longer you survive, the more cops will show up to stop you. You can use the money you've earned to buy more cars in the shop. This game is a knockoff of Smash Bandits, where in that game you have to race through the city and avoid the cops. The only big difference being the graphics. Now they're both tied at over 10 million downloads, but Smash Bandits was last updated September 27th of last year, so I'd assume the game is not getting much support. Smashy Road is a pretty simple game. There's not much to it other than collecting cars, which makes it a really good time killer. They also have a second game which they put more time into. Although you could argue that Smash Bandits has better graphics, it's not as fun as Smashy Road, and with it continuously getting support, I doubt that'll change. Piggy is a survival game on Roblox, where you need to escape a house while a giant pig looks for you. While you're escaping the house, you can set traps around to stun Piggy, but if you get bodied, it's over. This game is an obvious knockoff of Granny. Like, it's literally the same thing, except it's a pig and in Roblox. The big difference with Piggy though is that it's actually multiplayer. Granny has over 100 million downloads and Piggy has 12.9 billion visits and currently has 41,000 active players. Say what you want about it, but the game is far better than the original, and the fact that it gets constant updates and new things added pushes it even further. It's actually crazy because at the time Piggy really blew up. Like, Granny got really popular, but Piggy just took off. There's still so many videos being made about it today. It's crazy how successful the game has been. City Skylines is a city simulator made by Colossal Order. You play as a mayor who builds a city from the ground up. As your city grows, you have to worry about things like electricity, healthcare, and even the economy. It's a very complex simulator with things that actually affect the city. There's even a day and night cycle. There's little details like closed off roads and slower traffic at night. There's even a big workshop on Steam with tons of buildings you can download. This game is a knockoff of SimCity, which is an incredibly popular city simulator. City Skylines averages 12,000 players per day, while SimCity is at 400. Now, City Skylines is way older than the latest SimCity, so I guess in a way it might not count as a knockoff, but that's still a crazy high player count for a 10-year-old game. City Skylines is a realistically challenging simulator. If you want to know what it's like to run a city, I definitely recommend playing this game. Philippine Slam, now known as Basketball Slam, is a 2v2 basketball game made by Renita Games. You can pick your favorite team from the Philippine Basketball Association and play many modes like Quick Game, My Career, and 3-Point Challenge. But there's a twist. The more you score, the more a meter fills up, and when it fills up, it electrifies your basketball, allowing you to do some pretty cool slam dunks. This game is a knockoff of NBA Jam, and it's instantly better than NBA Jam because 1, it's free, and 2, it still exists. NBA Jam is removed everywhere. I couldn't find it in a single Play Store I checked. I can't check how many active players there are since there aren't any, and Philippine Slam has over 14 million downloads. This game is really fun and I recommend it to anybody looking for a goofy basketball game. Slitherio is a game made by Low-Tech Studios. You have to consume a bunch of glowing dots to grow bigger and bigger. You can also take out other players by having them touch you, while also trying to avoid the bigger snakes. This game is a knockoff of Agario, the only difference being that you're a snake. It got far more popular than Agario because you could play it on many different platforms. There's not much to it after that, but yeah, it's still a pretty fun game. I remember playing it a lot back then. Palworld is an open-world survival game made by Pocket Pair. You can build a farm with many different types of creatures known as pals, or you can explore the world fending off poachers. You can use pals to fight, work on your farm, or you can eat them. Yes, you can eat the pals. You can also capture random pals and sell them to get rich. You can breed certain pals to get strong combinations and use them to help you explore dungeons. Did I mention there's also guns? And there's multiplayer for up to 4 players. And if that's not enough, you can make your own server and allow up to 32. Yeah, this game's pretty stacked. Now, not the game specifically, but the pals are a knockoff of Pokemon. There was even some controversy around it on whether it was deemed as copyright infringement. It currently averages 40,000 players a day, so it's a pretty thriving game. It's really cool. Pokemon with guns is such a sick concept. If you haven't played the game and want to, I'd definitely go for it. There aren't a lot of knockoffs that can do better than the original, so it's super interesting to see the ones that do. And after looking at what they have to offer, I can understand why. It's nice when people put passion and effort in their games, even if it's not completely original. And if the game is just good, it never needs to be.